Deep beneath our feet lies a world humans were never meant to see. A world without sunlight, where time loses meaning and silence feels alive. These caves stretch for miles into the earth, creating a maze of darkness older than human civilization. Yet within this suffocating blackness, life has found a way to survive. But the deeper you go, the stranger, paler, and more unsettling these creatures become. To understand why evolution shapes these beings into such eerie forms, we must descend into the depths and uncover the rules of survival in eternal darkness. Darkness inside caves isn't just an absence of light. It's the most powerful sculptor of evolution. Without sunlight, eyes become useless. Over generations, they shrink, fade, or disappear entirely, leaving animals with smooth, ghost-like faces. Pigmentation vanishes because color serves no purpose. Bodies turn pale, translucent, or nearly invisible. But evolution doesn't stop removing features. It enhances others. Creatures develop heightened senses, like antennae that detect the faintest vibration, or elongated limbs that feel their way through narrow tunnels. The deeper the cave, the deeper the adaptations, and the stranger life becomes. The deeper you travel underground, the scarcer food becomes. There are no plants, no sunlight, and almost no nutrients. To survive, cave creatures slow their metabolism to extreme levels. Some can go months or even years without eating. Others develop hyper-efficient hunting strategies, striking with precision at anything that moves. Many species shrink in size because smaller bodies require less energy. But others grow oversized sensory organs to detect rare prey. This constant battle against starvation pushes evolution toward extremes, creating the eerie and haunting creatures we find in the deepest caverns. In shallow caves, animals still rely on vision, but deeper down, where not a single photon of light has touched the stone for millions of years, eyes become a burden. Maintaining eyes costs energy, and in caves, energy is precious. Many species evolve to lose their vision entirely. Some are born with eyes that never develop. Others have skin growing over their eye sockets. A few species, like certain cave fish, still possess the faint outline of where their eyes once were, a haunting reminder of their surface-dwelling ancestors. Blindness becomes an advantage. Most surface creatures use color to hide, attract mates, or regulate temperature. But in the deep cave world, color serves no purpose. As generations pass, pigment disappears. The result? Pale white creatures that look ghostly, translucent, or even glowing under artificial light. Their organs become faintly visible beneath thin skin. Some species display a soft blue or pink hue due to blood vessels reflecting through their bodies. This unnatural appearance often frightens explorers, but for cave life, it is simply the cost of surviving in a world where the sun never shines. When sight fades, other senses grow beyond what we consider normal. Cave salamanders detect water vibrations as faint as a single drop hitting a distant pool. Cave insects develop antennae longer than their own bodies to feel airflow changes. Some fish use electric fields to map their surroundings like underwater radar. Others rely on taste buds scattered across their skin to sense chemical trails. In total darkness, the world becomes a landscape of sound, movement, and pressure. Sensory systems so advanced, they appear almost supernatural to human observers. Food is so scarce in the deep cave ecosystem that the only way to survive is to slow everything down. Researchers have found cave creatures with lifespans far longer than their surface relatives. Their hearts beat slowly, their movements are gentle and minimal, and their metabolism drops to astonishing levels. Some species can survive on a single insect for months. Others enter periods of suspended activity, conserving precious energy. This slow-paced existence may look eerie, but it is an evolutionary masterpiece designed for survival where food barely exists. Despite the darkness and starvation, caves create fierce predators. These creatures may look fragile, but they are deadly hunters. Blind cave spiders sense movement through vibrations in their webs. Blind cave fish strike with sudden bursts of speed, guided entirely by pressure waves. Some crustaceans develop oversized claws capable of snapping small prey instantly. Because food is rare, these predators often eat anything they catch, even members of their own species. The deeper you go, the more desperate and aggressive the predators become, driven by hunger that never truly ends. Cave environments shrink the bodies of many creatures, making them smaller over generations to conserve energy. But their limbs? They evolve in the opposite direction. Spiders grow longer legs to navigate narrow crevices. Crustaceans develop stretched antennae to sense danger. Fish grow elongated fins to hover effortlessly in still water. This combination of tiny bodies and exaggerated appendages creates an unsettling appearance. But each feature is a finely tuned adaptation for navigating tight, pitch-black spaces where survival depends on precision. In complete darkness, defense mechanisms like camouflage become unnecessary. As a result, many cave creatures evolve bodies so thin that light passes through them. Their bones, veins, and organs become faintly visible. Some species appear almost invisible underwater, blending into the surrounding blackness, not by choice, but by the removal of pigment. This transparency helps them conserve energy, but to human eyes, it creates an eerie effect. Life forms that look unfinished, exposed, or ghost-like drifting through the dark. Caves are silent for thousands of years at a time. No wind, no rustling leaves, no animal calls. This silence shapes evolution by forcing creatures to rely entirely on subtle cues. A single footstep may feel like an earthquake to a cave salamander. The flutter of a small insect wing becomes a guiding beacon to a blind predator. Even the faintest echo becomes a map. This world of absolute quiet means every surviving creature is specialized to detect the smallest hints of life, turning stillness itself into a tool for survival. As you descend deeper underground, pressure increases. Some caves lie beneath mountains, with millions of tons of rock pressing down. Over time, creatures evolve flexible skeletons or entirely cartilaginous bodies that absorb this pressure. Their movements become fluid and soft, reducing the chance of injury. For aquatic cave species, the pressure of underground lakes and rivers shapes them into streamlined, delicate beings. These adaptations may make them appear fragile or alien, but they are perfectly engineered for surviving forces that would crush most surface animals. Some cave animals never grow up, literally. In a process called neoteny, creatures like the olm remain in a juvenile stage for their entire lives. They keep their gills, soft skin, and larval body shapes even into adulthood. This saves energy by eliminating the costly process of metamorphosis. But it also gives these animals a permanently eerie, childlike appearance that feels unsettling in the dark. Their slow movements, pale bodies, and frozen expressions make them look like ancient spirits drifting through underground lakes. Most deep caves have few predators, but that doesn't make them safe. Instead, danger comes from starvation, dehydration, or sudden environmental collapse. A shift in water level can wipe out an entire species. A blocked passage may trap a population forever. With so few resources, even small changes become catastrophic. Creatures evolve extreme resilience, but also extreme fragility. Their survival depends not on fighting predators, but on weathering a world that barely supports life at all. This constant threat shapes them into eerie specialists of survival. Caves isolate populations completely. A group of creatures in one chamber may be separated from others for thousands or millions of years. Over time, even random mutations can take hold and reshape the species dramatically. Some develop bizarre body proportions, others lose entire organ systems. Some acquire strange sensory abilities. Without sunlight, open space, or predators, evolution becomes unpredictable and chaotic. This isolation creates creatures that look nothing like their surface relatives. Life forms twisted by the environment into haunting, unfamiliar shapes. Unlike surface ecosystems powered by sunlight, cave ecosystems rely on strange and delicate sources. Bacteria feeding on minerals, fungi digesting bat droppings, tiny organisms drifting from the surface through cracks in the ceiling. Every species becomes part of a fragile chain that barely holds together. If one link disappears, entire communities collapse. This unstable system forces creatures to become extremely specialized, and these radical adaptations often look eerie or unnatural. Cave ecosystems are beautiful, but they survive by clinging to the very edge of possibility. When life is shaped by darkness for millions of years, the results resemble beings from another world. Long limbs, blind faces, pale or transparent bodies, hypersensitive organs, mouths adapted to grab anything that passes. These features make cave animals appear alien, but they're the outcome of nature adjusting to the harshest environment on Earth. Deep caves mimic the conditions of extraterrestrial worlds: cold, silent, starved, and isolated. By studying cave creatures, scientists believe they are glimpsing what life on other planets might look like. Some cave species are so isolated and unchanged that scientists call them living fossils. These creatures resemble animals from millions of years ago, preserved by the slow, stable environment. Their eerie, primitive shapes give us a window into Earth's ancient past. While surface species evolved rapidly due to predators and climate changes, cave species evolved slowly. This slow evolution gives them a haunting appearance, part ancient, part alien, and completely unique to the underground world. The deepest cave zones are called aphotic zones, places where zero light has ever entered. Here, life becomes the strangest of all. Creatures are nearly invisible. Movements are slow and delicate. Some species rely entirely on chemical trails to navigate. Others communicate through vibrations or electric pulses. Every adaptation becomes extreme. The deeper the creature's home, the more radical its evolution, and the creepier it appears to human eyes. These beings are shaped by a world without color, warmth, or sound. Humans evolved on the surface, surrounded by light and open spaces. Our brains are wired to fear darkness, silence, and hidden spaces. So, when we encounter cave creatures, blind, pale, elongated, and ghost-like, we perceive them as frightening. But their unsettling appearance is simply evolution doing its job. These creatures are masters of survival in an environment we could barely endure for minutes. Their creepy looks tell a story, not of danger, but of incredible resilience in Earth's harshest realm. So why do cave creatures get creepier the deeper you go? Because deeper caves demand more extreme adaptations. In darkness, evolution removes what is unnecessary and amplifies what helps survival. Eyes fade, colors vanish, bodies stretch, senses sharpen, life transforms. These creatures may look eerie, even unsettling, but they are triumphs of evolution, proof that life finds a way even in the coldest, darkest corners of Earth. And by studying them, we discover not just how life survives underground, but how life might exist in the darkest places of the universe.